I don't know what happened.
I know we was talking.
Yeah, my
We were.
bad. My phone was tripping. It said like it got hot or something, had to cool down.
Oh man, I know we were having a good load. You were spinning, but we were going.
Hello?
Yeah,
Hey
my
man,
bad,
I
y'all.
tried
My
going in and out.
man, my phone got hot. It said it had to cool down. Y'all was talking too much. Y'all was talking. Y'all bringing that
All
heat.
right,
Y'all was
you got
talking.
cricket wireless. That's
Uh,
cricket. I know cricket when I see a cricket. You got cricket. You got to get on real
Nah.
the right
Shit,
way.
my man got the cricket.
You got
it's all
cricket.
right. Part two, we
Nah.
just pick up where we left off. I was just
Yeah.
I was just mentioning about how social media could be a gift and a curse. Because my son, in the beginning of really in the midst of his basketball career or journey, let me say. It was Snapchat. It was showing me videos on YouTube of these parents who were stopping their lives and retiring and cashing out their retirement funds. Brandon's spinning now, look. Um, and how they just stopped their whole life to, kind of live their life vicariously through their kids. And it's just that image. It was like it just kept coming and it's nonstop, and it's overwhelming. And I wish I could just be like, forget all social media, but in a sense it helps because we're using it right now, but for these kids who literally pour their hearts into something, it's like, how do you provide them with a sense of um, some sense? How do you
Well,
Yeah.
provide them with some sense when it
one,
That
comes to using
that
this?
that actually goes to my next question that I'm gonna ask you. Um, do you find with athletes that a lot of their mental problems, or I would say just problems in general, comes from comparing themselves to other people within this day and age when it comes to, like she said, with social media,
mhm,
television, what
right.
their friends are doing. Do you find that as an issue when you
Well,
talking with your athletes?
well, it's not specific to athletes. It's to all.
Okay, yeah.
In the days and times we living in, nobody really posts their losses. So what happens?
Right.
We have a unrealistic expectation that people are winning all the time when everybody who's successful know failure is a part of success. But
Yep.
what happens is we fall victim to a false reality. And so one of the things that I see with social media, it's really meant to be a supplement, not a substitute for real connectivity. And so people have to understand that, we can use these tools as ways to communicate, to connect, make it easy, give them a way to spend time, laugh, and all that. But at the end of the day, what I tell the most of the people, particularly the athletes, you better have two or three really grounded people around you that can tell you when you got a bug in your nose, that can tell you, hey, you ain't doing the right thing, or you might let all these likes go to your head. And
Mm-hmm.
so you got to understand that, the cost of a like, it really is, it doesn't have any real value. And it's really the term that I wrote, it's internal validation versus external validation. So social media is a lot about external validation. Look at me versus internal validation, which is I know I have value. Why? Because God created me. I already won the biggest race in life. I'm the sperm cell that made it to the egg.
Mm-hmm.
So when we really begin to look at things from that standpoint, it gives us just a new way of viewing things. And what I try to tell my clients is to look at social media as a tool, but not as a fight.
Right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm gonna take it back to you, Brandon. So growing up, having your dad play in the NBA and overseas and things like that, do you feel like that put some pressure on you to kind of like follow in his footsteps, or did you feel like you just was going to do your own thing when it came to hooping?
I kind of put more pressure on myself than anybody, because I was trying to prove a point. Um, I wanted to be like him, so much. Uh, it's funny, like a lot of guys would ask me like, who is, my favorite basketball player, and if you didn't know the history of the game, and I said my father's name, you just looked at me like I was crazy. And I always said, my father, like I would, like, you remember we were younger and we would wear shorts and it was always baggy, bro. Like I would wear my dad's game shorts from like with him, playing overseas. Like I wanted to be like him so much. Like I tried to like mimic everything like him. Um, to the point where like I only wanted to play, in the ACC. It took a while to get that scholarship, and when you know, when I got that scholarship, the opportunity, you know, presented itself, I took full advantage of it. And the reason why, because like I know I was going to have to, you know, work twice as hard as I already was, and really prove myself to show people that I'm not just here because the name on the back of my jersey. Like I'm not just here, you know. Like my father would tell you. Like I wish he can get on this live right now. Like he didn't lay a finger in my recruitment. He didn't talk to, you know, other collegiate coaches that were recruiting me at that time.
I
Like,
see him back here in the back. Tell him pull up.
hey, Dad, come here, man. He been requested. Like he'll tell you right here, he did not lay a finger on my recruitment at all. Here he is right here.
Oh yeah,
What up, man? What's going on?
nothing much, man. What's going on?
Nothing much. Tell the people about Brandon recruitment, man. A lot of people, they probably out here thinking that, hey, Brandon got to Wake Forest because of you. So
Right.
we going to set the line clear right now.
No, because I mean, truthfully, you know, I'm the associate head coach, but still, the head coach got to make the final decision on that. You know what I mean? Everybody thinks like on any staff, you'll have input, and then you just say, you know, and then it's my son, so obviously I'm gonna be a little biased. So the staff went out and watched him play, and I told him like I'm not recruiting my son. Like if he decides he's gonna come, he's gonna come. If he's not, then you know, selfishly I would want him to be here, but it was like, look, whatever you want to do, I'm gonna support you. I'll make as many games as I can, but I'm not gonna recruit you. The only thing I did probably in the process was just give him just honest and accurate information. You know, I remember it's funny. He was mad. He probably left this part out. He got pissed at me when he committed because he we only taking one. Like all these kids, you know, they posting all these pictures and these comments saying, "Oh, I'm blessed to get this offer. I'm blessed to get that." And I knew it's like, look, man, you want to go to Wake, right? So sitting around here collecting all these scholarships, I told him, I said, we're gonna take one kid. So if you sit around here and let somebody else say I do, I can't help you. So all I'm telling you is that if this is where you want to be, you better say yes and then take it, and then we're done looking for PGs. We're done looking for point guards. We ain't got to look no more. That's the advice I gave him. As far as coming here, I was like, wherever you want to go, you go. I wasn't going to recruit him. The other coach, I told Danny, I told Manning that, I told Woodbury, I said, look, if y'all want him, y'all got to recruit him. Obviously, if he asks me questions, I'm going to answer it, but I'm not recruiting him because I wanted him to know that he, more importantly for him, like you did this. Now we can't control what everybody else going to assume, what they're going to think, but I can bring 100 kids to the table. The staff and more importantly, the head coach got to say, yeah, you know, I'm gonna take that kid, or we, you know, he may ask us, I like him, we don't. Ultimately, he got the final decision, but he earned his own, you know, he earned his own way. And the biggest thing I would always tell him is that you got to keep your head down. You can't listen to all the excess noise and the way this game is now, and the way, you know, from an expectation standpoint or assumption, everybody's gonna say, oh, you only got here because your dad or whatever, and it's not true, but you know, when he got here, I think he proved that he belonged. I don't think anybody ever questioned that part of it. But,
For sure.
you know, he struggled with that because I was just like, look, you can't do it. Don't do what everybody else is doing. You know, you can't wait around because I'm telling you the business of this, collegiate athletics is a business. So if another kid says he wants it, which is another small reason that there's so many kids that transfer because they know you know where you want to go. It's like all of us right now. There's an opportunity that if somebody called, we all gone. We taking it. You know, and then there's other things we may be like, nah. But I won't say there's necessarily dream jobs, but there's certain places you're like, man, if I can work there, I'm gonna take it. So it got offered, and then you had all these other offering opportunities. It's like, look, man, you know what you know it and I know it. This is where you want to go. So what's wrong with getting it? As soon as he made the announcement, it was congratulations. Then it was, oh, why you commit so early? Why you do this so early? And I'm like, why are you sitting around collecting off? Like, who cares if you have 25 scholarships? You can only go to one school.
Facts.
So you got the offer you want. Why are you waiting around on it? And he didn't want to hear it because just like him, and I say this in front of him, he struggles with balancing out. Like, hey, I'll make sure I always say, listen, I'm gonna give you advice, but you got to make the decision because you got to live with it. I don't ever want you to feel like I'm gonna tell you this and this is what I'm just gonna offer you the advice. And I would even tell him, I said, truthfully, I got the crappy job of this because whenever something fails, I'm the one that got to clean it up. or I'm the one that you got to come to that's going to fix it. Because all these people who giving you all this advice, like, for example, right now you injured, now you home. Where are all these people? Dad's going to hold. So just, I'm going to give you advice. You're going to live your life. You know this, but I'm just here to give you, why listen to a bunch of people when you're traveling this road? I'm coming back off this road. I done been down this road. I know where you're going. So why would anybody have it, but you listen to these outside people? And I heard you say you married to a noob, and he had the noobs and other fraternity brothers telling him stuff. I'm like, look, man, you're playing basketball at a school your father went to. Everything you're trying to do, I did. So why would you think I'm gonna tell you something wrong? Now the other is, I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I got to deal with the reality of it, because when it don't work out, and it sometimes it's not. We got how we deal with it, how we attack it, how we, what's next. Like, it's just, I tell him he in a great time, because you guys in the chance to, even now with so much from an activism standpoint, and everything that's going on, and we're coming, his generation is coming along at a rate and making significant changes in the world, whereas that people of my time, we accepted it. Like racism, we accepted it and became like, man, it's just part of it. We were raised in it. Our parents were that way. They accepted it. Now, to a certain extent, everyone on this call, you accepted it to get to a certain point. Now these younger generations is coming along, and they like, look, we ain't having it. And it's a great thing to see. There's some steps probably being skipped, but you want to push it along. I'm all for it. I want him to embrace and do all that. But I commend him. I'm proud of him, because again, even coming awake, again, following in those footsteps, I took it for granted how difficult that was for him. Because even in the locker room, right? You in a locker room, and the players are worried, are you going to leave the locker room and tell the coach what we talking about? Tell your dad what we talking about? So, there was a downside to even coming here, from his perspective and doing that. So, it's a journey. It is. There's going to be some good days and some bad days about it. He's going through it now. The timing of this stinks, but you're fortunate. You got somebody that's been through it, injury as well. I did the same thing as my third NBA game. My shoulder goes out and I missed my rookie year. So we're very similar in the things that we've endured. I mean, my rookie year, 3 games into my rookie year, I messed my shoulder up. My rookie year is gone. I tried to play through it. By Christmas, I was done. And it cost me. In hindsight, people will say the injuries and my experience of playing, going to Europe and playing the NBA and going to Europe, had I not been injured, I would have made probably more money. But I wouldn't have known what to do with it. I wasn't ready. I had nobody to guide me, to help me. He has that now. So as he gets through it, it's just a matter of, hey, what are you going to listen to? Who are you going to listen to? Who are you going to surround yourself with? Who are you surrounding yourself with? If you hanging around 9 idiots 9 times out of 10, you're gonna be the 10th idiot. You're gonna be the 10th. So who do you surround yourself with?
Yeah.
And I try to do it by showing them this, by even like life now. It's like, I'm like, listen, I got zero tolerance for BS. And the way I showed him that is that I'm doing a job. I was coaching with a group of guys, and I'm making 6 figures, great money. And I'm like, you know what? I ain't happy doing this. I'm out. So an average person would be like, oh, man, you stupid. But I'm like, man, I'm 48 years old. You can't put a dollar value on me being happy. You can pay me $60,000 right now, and I'm going to be happy. If I'm happy, I'm good with it.
Yeah.
I'm good with it. So it's just, he puts a ton of pressure on himself. I think that's the other part of this generation, because it's like if you're not somebody, then you feel like you're nobody. Like you got to be the guy or the man, and if you're not, you're struggling with it, and that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, I just I don't know. I mean, there's so much about stuff like that I think a lot of people are. This is one of those things that it's needed more, particularly with collegiate athletes. They need to see people like you guys talking about stuff like this, but these institutions aren't doing it. They're hiring. I'll use Wake as an example, right? We're a private school, $1 billion endowment, all this other stuff. And then you take where their situation and looking at a mental health issue, they got a middle-aged young white girl, and she's cool. Her intentions are good, but these kids are not going to go in her office and talk to her because they want to see somebody that looks like them. It doesn't
Well,
matter male or female, they do. And so it really doesn't help them individually because she doesn't have time. It's one person for every sport in the department. So
That's
it's just
crazy.
coming in on a group saying we're doing group activities. Well, the issue that's bothering me aren't a group activity. It's my issues.
well, and Coach Randolph, what's interesting, they talk about the game being 90% mental, but then we're not doing the things to keep people's mental strong.
Right.
And I got a
Mm.
friend. I went to Archbishop Carroll with Charlie Harrison.
You know,
So
that's my guy. You know, he came here. That's my guy. You already know. Like, he came to Wake. I got him in from Georgetown. Charlie Harrison was my childhood.
yeah,
That's my childhood BFF. Like, we hooped together, AAU, one and that. Like so, like I said, I hurt with that one. That's my brother.
the big one. But the Carroll community, man, we really appreciated how you looked out for him at Wake, and I know he thought the world of you guys, man.
That's my brother. That hurt me. I talked to Keith. I talked to his brother and his dad. His
Okay.
mom passed shortly after that. I talked to
Yeah.
Keith and his dad the other night.
Okay.
And that's just another one of those things, just a reminder. And I try to, you want to help. It's honestly, it's a weird time. What you guys doing is needed now more than ever. But it's just a matter of how do you get that message across? Like, I'm hoping to do something more on a national level. Like, if I can get something at a ACC network or ESPN to start bringing these issues up,
Yeah.
then then I would. That's really what I would want to do more than I would coach them, because coaching them I can only get to a small amount, and so
I
many of these
agree.
kids right now are getting to a level of, if you don't make it, like nothing. Like I explained to him, he just experienced it. You got on a plane, you went 7,000 miles away playing a game you love, and you had a bad organization that they just want to change. They're changing players like they're changing clothes.
All right.
And you sitting around doubting yourself, wondering what's wrong with you. It's just nothing's wrong with you. But that's just the lifestyle of what that career path you chose.
All right.
And guys, athletically, it's just getting to a place now. It's needed now more than ever with our kids. I mean, everybody's thinking this professional sports now or this one and done stuff is great, but nobody talks about. People don't realize. I say this: the NBA has a turnover ratio of 25% a year.
That's crazy.
And it's only 400 jobs.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. And it's a 20. So even it isn't. I would tell guys, you guys are worried about getting there. I'm worried about you staying there.
Right.
Because you guys, they throwing $100,000 to these kids, and $100,000 is a lot of money. But it ain't when you 19, 21 years old, don't know what to do with it, because you may not make $100,000. If you're gonna make $100,000 for 30 years, yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Right.
But how you gonna do that now? You just sitting here. He got a knee injury. He's out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are you gonna do? And in 10 years, and then now you try to come back, and then the first time we try to do something else, so most of them don't have degrees because they left school early. You could be 23 to 30 years old and be done, and then now trying to come back into this world
Yeah.
and figure this out. Then that's where it gets worse to me.
Yep.
Because now you coming home, you 20-something years old, no education formally. What a formal education? What are you gonna do?
All right. Well, and
What
it's like
can you do?
getting the paperwork got to be paramount.
Yeah.
And I think about one of my favorite rappers, Jay-Z. He said this game got valleys and peaks. And like I look at like the failure he experienced early in his career, not really getting the right record deal, not doing all those things, but it forced him to become a better businessman.
Right.
And so one of the things that we have to be willing to do is anticipate adversity anytime we try and do something great.
Yep.
Not going to do anything great with adversity, and don't be surprised when it showed up. You should anticipate.
Try to be ready. Right.
But one of the things paperwork gives you, it gives you third-party validation. And so one of the things that we have to commit to doing is saying, okay, if I go and I'm not a one and done, I got to make sure I get my paperwork. I got to get my paperwork. What I mean is diploma.
Right.
And then that gives me the opportunity not only come back and coach if the relationships are present, but it shows the rest of the world that I'm a finisher.
Right.
And they've only looked at us for our physical attributes. Josiah, your generation is going to be the first one to really get acknowledged for their cognitive attributes. And so we're having a shift in the paradigm. We're not just these bodies running up and down this court that they're going to sell products for anymore. We're coming for equity, not equality. And so when you
absolutely
be an equity partner, okay, that requires a certain level of discipline.
Yep.
And that that you're going to have certain standards. So it doesn't make sense for these universities, to like invest in them unless we make that part of the conversation, because we are the asset. But we have to be willing to make that part of the conversation. There are no games if we don't play.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
That's right. No, listen,
but
you're spot on. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
yeah, but I feel like another thing. Yes, we want the players to stay 4 years, but it also comes from back home at the parenting level too, because a lot of these kids, they're growing up and these parents are banking on their kids to make it pro. And let's say, okay, a kid averaged like 22 points his freshman year. Now
Mhm.
his family like, all right, go on the draft so you can get this money, take care of me and get me out the trenches.
Right.
Now what?
Mhm. Yeah, but
They
just
need they need to have the
right. Go.
problem of it is again, it's the fast money. No, everyone shows the person that makes it.
Right.
They
Right.
never talk about the hundreds or the thousands that don't, or the ones who, and this is where I even will fault the NBA, because excuse me, people don't realize this. The NBA is $1 billion industry. They don't care what's going on in college. They don't care what's going on in high school. The only thing they care about in high school is if they deem the next Zion. Okay, he's another Zion coming through here, or the next LeBron coming through here. The shoe companies and them are gonna fight over him, and that's it. That's all they care about. Even the players that's in the league. The league only cares about the championship level teams. It's the Golden State. If you got a star and you sell tickets, that's who they care about.
All right. Well,
And
and
you have hundreds and thousands of kids. Like this draft is 60 spots, and the
right.
second round is not guaranteed. And
Right.
the misconception is these kids, which Brandon experienced, no one ever tells them that, because everybody thinks, oh, I can go overseas and I can hoop and it's tax-free money. Man, they'll cut your ass if you wake up on the wrong side of the bed.
Yeah.
They'll send you home. I tell Brandon this before. I came straight from the NBA and went over there. I got cut 2 of my first 3 years.
Mm.
He was my motivation, because I'm sitting here now. I got cut. And I'm running around this like, damn. I got younger. I took off when he was 5 weeks old. Not that I wanted to do it, but that's where it took me. He was born in August 31st, and on October 7th, I'm on a plane going to Europe.
Mm.
And didn't see him for 5 months after that. Scared to death
Wow.
he wouldn't even recognize me.
Mm.
Wow.
Those are the other part of it that guys don't realize. And I posed this question to him when he said that, I want to go to Europe, I want to play. My answer was, hey, that's great, but think about this. You remember, I never saw a game until I saw a few games in the summer. And thank God, when in the 9th grade, I was home and I retired and you was in 9th grade. Up until he was in high school, I missed everything.
Mm.
I missed his birthdays. I missed everything. First day of school, I missed everything. But
Hey,
that's something that
Brandon.
people don't talk to you about when you make that decision, because that's part of it. Like, when you're thinking about yourself, it's cool. When you start getting in a relationship. Y'all know ain't no relationship working 5 and 6 and 7,000 miles away. It ain't gonna work. They barely work when you're in the same damn house. How the hell they gonna work 7,000 miles away?
Right.
Now I got a
But those
question
are the
for
things, and
Brandon.
these kids are getting there. They're telling you it's tax free. They're telling you this, and it's a sellout to get there. And everybody talks about the ones that make it, and it's great. You celebrate them, but it ain't a sellout. Like, it's okay to be a fireman.
Yeah. Come on.
It's okay to, like, my wife is actually doing teaching a class. I'm teaching a class, but she's over switching over to the fire department now. They're talking to Winston-Salem State to talk to some of their players and people to be like something that we would all understand now. You can go straight into firefighting in college. You do 20 years in college. You 40 years old and you're retired, and then still can go do something else full time if you want. It's like, that's a great career.
Yeah.
But nobody talks about that. It's like, to our kids, it's always the LeBrons or something. You're never going to be LeBron. Like I tell Brandon, you're never going to be me, because you're not me. You're Brandon Childress. You're not Randolph Childress.
Right.
All right. That's real.
So why are you comparing, as much as similar as we've been in this path, we're still different. Our journey's going to be different. Our result, everything's going to be different. And so I share that with them. and deep down, I think he listens to that. I know he got other distractions, but I feel bad for those kids that doesn't have anybody that can tell them this, that can share this and say, hey,
Right.
this is the reality. No one tells you this, but you go overseas, you're getting cut.
Yeah.
And then what? Or if you get injured and you missing a year, what are you going to do? Like, no different than any of us. Who in here can sit there and go a year without an income with responsibilities of a family?
Yeah. You can't.
And you got to
But
deal with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But my thing is, it's like, why is this an uncomfortable conversation? Like, why? That's one thing. Like what we're talking about. Why aren't we having, not we, but more people having these conversations? And that's when I contacted Josiah. I'm uncomfortable because it's a problem that I want to be able to fix. Like it shouldn't be like this because there are too many kids that are out here giving that false hope. Nobody, coaches, mentors, mamas,
No.
daddies, grandmas, nobody's having those conversations just saying, look, like you can Google and get the data, right? You can see how
Right.
many, go to NBA, but it's like, why aren't you guys telling these kids that you still gonna go get your paper, like Mr. Skeeter said?
Because
Yep. Like me, I got a good job. I ain't complaining. I
Right.
stopped hooping a while ago.
people with
But they
revelation.
don't. But when you grow, the thing is now that's changed, and I'm pretty sure I'm the oldest person on the call, right? But the difference in the time, right? The difference from when I came out of school was it was collegiate athletics was driven by education, right? Like this past weekend I was at Tim, Duncan's Hall of Fame at the Hall of Fame. It was great, seeing Kobe, and Kevin Garnett and Tim. But the difference is looking at that group. Garnett left high school. Kobe left high school and went to the league. People don't realize, like, all right, Kobe was a 6'6" super athletic guard. KG was 7 feet. They were elite talents with their physical size and everything they give. But Duncan was a 4-year guy. He's a 4-year guy. And you take my career, right? Had I left school early, I got a 16-year NBA and European professional career. And had I not graduated, I couldn't even coach. So the one thing you would think I'd be qualified to do, had I not graduated, I can't do it.
Off the table, right?
It's not even an option. They're not even going to hire me to it. And I got 16 years of experience on the table, which somebody's still going to tell me I'm not qualified to do it.
Right.
Like I couldn't even get when I finished playing, I tried to get the Georgetown Prep high school job. We ain't talking no national powerhouse.
Yeah, the
Powerhouse
IAC.
program.
Yeah.
Right.
This is Georgetown Prep. Shit, I ain't even get a second interview. Didn't get a second interview. So again, disappointed. No, it ended up it closed. Another, it just was redirecting me to another blessing. I went down to Wake to actually ask them to help me get Winston-Salem State job. The head coach at Winston-Salem State never even returned my phone call. And then the person was like, yo, if you're looking to get into college coaching, we want you here. I was like, all right, cool. And that's how I got my start. But you're right. I don't know how do you – there's just not enough people giving them enough facts because it's not the message that they want to give out. It's really what it boils down to. People can say it, but it's like a footnote. It's like somebody selling you something and it's that little small print at the bottom that that you kind of just gloss over. That's kind of how it is. It may be mentioned to you, but it's not something that's emphasized, and that's just a big problem. I mean, it is. It's and our kids will struggle, and a lot of them will be left out. And no different than with Brandon. What happens if Brandon, like for example, didn't have his family now? Because he's gonna be fine over this next year. He don't have to worry about anything. Where he coming or going, eating, no responsibilities. He got whatever he's gonna have it. I got him at a physical therapist. He has to do nothing but get up and give it his best. But what happens to kids that don't have that opportunity? So you're just sitting at home, or more importantly, this is the funny part. He tore cartilage in his knee. A kid that's desperate, he can afford to say, you know what, Brandon, we got to be patient, get this fixed the right way. A kid that doesn't have that can get his scope, lead the cartilage out.
Yeah.
Hey. A kid that doesn't have that option, he gets scoped, they'll cut it out.
Mhm.
And the doctor's like, by the time he's 35, he's gonna have arthritic knees,
Mm-hmm.
and
Bone
he's
on bone.
bone on bone, and
Yep.
won't have a normal function for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, that's the
Mhm.
alternative if you don't do it now. So it's a sacrifice at 23 years old to get this and sit out so that you can walk when you're 40.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would love to help you guys in any way going forward with stuff like that. I just don't think the message gets out there clear enough. I don't think there's enough people presenting that,
Mhm.
talking about that, and it's a lot of our young generation of black kids that are struggling for it.
Well, and the mental health community got to do a better job too. I mean, like for me, when I got into this field, it was a professional pivot. But I mean, as a black male therapist, I'm only representing 1%,
Right,
13 population in the United
right,
States. So
right.
I got hours in a day. And
Mhm.
what we really have to do is begin to reevaluate how we make these career choices. You know, when I was going into college, they were telling everybody to be a doctor, lawyer, or engineer, and they were taking these other career paths off the table. And when
Right.
I first got to Loyola, I walked into class. I'm the only black person, and a lot of times I'm the only black male. And I was
Right.
like, okay, this is
Mm.
hiding that. I got y'all now. And so
Mhm.
it's like, be able to get this information. We need more and more of our own people to really have a focus on being able to support one another in this way, because studies have shown you just receive care better from people who you can relate to.
Yep.
Let me ask you this: have you guys thought about? I know it's been discussed because a couple of years ago I discussed it with someone about. I don't. I don't see why you guys wouldn't be able to, as an option, or to say, let me just use Wake Forest as an example, to say, hey, let me come to your school, speak to your athletes, and say, hey, if there's something that interests you, let me help you.
Mm-hmm.
They
Mhm.
should be allowed to say, hey, I can look on this call and I can decide that if I want to speak with you, or I want to speak with whomever, and just say,
Mm-hmm.
let me communicate with you.
Right.
Particularly now, because we know with Zoom, it's shown us we can do it now. We don't need to be
Yep.
necessarily
In
Right.
face to
person.
face. There's a way now. That's the
Mhm.
best thing to come out of COVID. It's forced us to show, all right, we can do this.
No, no
Mhm.
question. Well, okay, so one of the things I can say is it really depends on the head coach. So I have a university that I'm working with now that we do some mental health awareness work with. But the coach, if I was to say his name, y'all would know who he is. He's very in tune with the needs of his players.
Mhm.
And he also happens to look like us. And so it really depends on the coaches having a level of awareness, and then really pushing the athletic directors and telling them, hey, these are things that are going to be important, because you know what? It'll help our student athletes perform better, and it'll help them off the floor.
Can I
Mhm.
And that's
can I ask you the level in which this coach is? Is it a big school?
Big East school. Yeah.
Biggie school? Okay. Man, you got enough. It's just
Yeah.
not enough of us in those positions though.
Yeah. And, that,
Mhm.
and that's
You know,
really,
that's a whole nother issue amongst the
Yep.
sports we talk about, from front office to coaching, you
yeah.
know,
Mhm.
collegiately. It's just not a lot. And when they do give us chances, a lot of time it's not opportunities to be successful.
Well, I
Right.
think,
It's
Yeah,
limited
that's the
Yep.
crazy
budgets. It's
part.
limited
Mhm.
resources. It's like, so, like, even I use Wake as an example. Trying
mhm,
to do something outside, they're gonna recommend you to say, hey, why don't you go see Rachel? Go
right.
see this
Mhm.
girl down the
Right.
hall, as
True.
opposed to, hey, maybe I want to go see somebody that I relate to a little better than Rachel.
No,
But then their mind's gonna be, nah, we gotta pay for that, so that's what
yeah.
Rachel for. We ain't paying for that.
No, I mean, I get it. I think the thing is, and I'll be honest with you, I think about John Thompson's book. He said that we haven't been given the ability or the freedom to fail yet. And he's
No,
right.
Yep.
Mm.
Like, we got
no,
to
Right.
win right away, or
Mhm.
don't have the jobs the next year.
you won't.
Right.
And,
And
and and in turn, that's changed the way we handle things. Like, there's not, John could do whatever he wanted. At, like, he and Cheney, John Thompson, John Cheney could do that because they built those programs.
that's right.
Right
Mhm.
now, it's gone. Now they have, that generation of building. You're getting out of that Coach K, and you're losing these last bit of guys who built these programs. And then now it's just money. It's almost like, hey, I'm paying you so much money. Do what
Yeah,
we want you to do.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you stop doing it, like, that's not a concern anymore. It's about winning, and it's going to get worse now with these rules
Well, and
because they're giving these kids power,
yeah,
but they don't understand the consequences of what they're asking and they're giving them, because all they're thinking about is the freedom of thinking to play basketball, not thinking that, all right, if you don't make it,
yeah. Where you gonna be?
what you gonna
What's
do?
next?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's real rap.
And
Mm-hmm.
then
Yep.
what?
Yeah.
Then what?
Yep.
You can transfer and go to school. We can be all over the country, and you can go do all that. And then what?
And
Yep.
then what? Yep.
And then what?
After the ball deflates,
Yep.
that's what
After
it's
the
all
right.
about.
It's not, and it's never going to be them until
Yep.
That's
there's
right.
never. And they just need to hear enough of it and talk about it, even in the current circumstances. They're a powerful group right now. They got a lot going for them, but you
Mm-hmm.
can't narrow yourself. I've been on him about that. Like, hey, with Zooms now, whatever, like you can be thousands of miles away. You still can be in touch with people and everything was going on. So when you come back, this time, like he got no excuse now. You're gonna be here the next 6-7 months, make it work.
Yeah, lock in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Rehab gonna be an hour or so a day. Once you get
Mm-hmm.
back on the court, that's another 2-3 hours. We got a whole day to figure this out.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Hmm.
real.
True. And look, don't sleep on locking in on who your circle of influence and who, like he had mentioned earlier, who's checking in on you, who hasn't been. I mean,
Yeah.
this is an opportune time for personal self-assessing, not just yourself, but those around you as well.
Absolutely.
I don't think
Because
people do
once
that enough though.
not enough.
And I
Mm-mm.
always,
That's
I
a
It's
whole,
tried
that's
to,
a
scary.
whole
I
nother
tried to,
topic.
That's a
I
whole
tried to
nother time.
explain to him. I tried to explain to him. I said, listen, you don't want a
Mm-hmm.
transactional relationship with your
Yep.
Come on.
friends. You want a transformative relationship.
That's
Mm-hmm.
right.
Understand the difference between the two. I
Yep.
want to feed you information or help you and you help me. You don't want a transactional where it's based on if I'm doing something for you or you doing something for me. You don't
Mm-hmm.
need that. That's that 10th idiot in the room. I mean, ninth idiot in the room, and you want you the 10th one. Like
Mm-hmm.
you know it, so you
Well,
need to get away from that. But it's just a matter of getting it out there, getting the information out there, and
well,
keeping a support group to do it.
one more thing I want to speak to because I know we getting wrapped up.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The role of the parents are so important, and I mean, Randolph, you hit so many nails on the head.
Mm-hmm.
Mom, I hear what you talking about with your son, and Josiah, you know, I wouldn't even be here if your father ain't called me.
Yep.
Like all he had to do was call, and it was okay, bet, just tell me when to show up.
Right.
Like that type of relationship. And so what happens is a lot of these young people, they don't have the effective covering that you guys are providing.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to get back to covering our young people because what we got to realize, the way that this current setup is built is to exploit them. Like they say, it's built off
It,
exploitation.
it is, but we're all in this situation because we know.
Y'all
The
know.
reality is the other group or the other probably 90% of them, they don't know.
Yeah.
So the parents are going through this for the first time, and most of the time
Mm-hmm.
they're listening to somebody who's trying to get that, they're trying to get that transactional relationship out of them. Hey, come play for me.
Yeah, position
Mm-hmm.
them.
You need to listen to me
Yeah.
Yep.
because I want to help you. I'm going to give you this scholarship, and I'm going to help you. And then it's like, don't listen to, they don't want to hear what we're saying.
No, that's
Because
right.
if they listen to what we're saying, we're going to expose what they're talking about, and they don't want that. So they're going to try to keep you quiet. So
Well,
most of these parents, they don't know.
right. Well, and the thing,
It goes back to my mother worked for the State Department, and my father work for Metro. What the hell they knew when I got to making it to being an NBA? They didn't know what the hell NBA. They didn't know. Couldn't do anything.
right,
They
right,
couldn't advise me other than that. All the State Department and driving the bus. That was it.
right,
Mm-hmm.
right, right.
Yep.
No, that's real.
Well, listen,
Yeah, for
I'll
sure.
let y'all finish up, my man. I'm sorry to talk
Yeah,
y'all head off too much.
yeah. Now
Yeah.
But
you
listen,
good.
if
This
I
was
can help
needed.
in any way, I mean it in all sincerity. If let me know. Through Brandon, I would love to help and help our kids out as much as possible. Pleasure meeting you
Appreciate it.
guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
great
you too.
Yes, sir.
piece, man.
Yeah, I noticed it was light outside when he started talking, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Now it's dark. Now it's dark. All right, we're gonna wrap up in a moment, but I do want to ask you one question, Brandon, because I know your dad he had the phone, he was going there.
Yeah.
So with him being away for all those years and like missing your games and stuff, how was that making you feel as a kid when it came to like with my dad? Like I need my dad in my life. How was that making you feel?
It wasn't the matter I need my dad in my life. I was jealous. Like, perfect example, Ed Utress, right? When it come to nationals or like somewhat kind of local tournaments like the Boo Williams, you know what I'm saying? So me and my mom would ride down to the tournaments together, right? I would see you and your dad. I would see somebody like
Mm-hmm.
Dewan and his dad, or Raj and his dad, or you know what I'm saying. Julian father was the assistant coach on our team. Like everyone had that unique relationship with their father, and they was with them, and their moms were on the stands rooting for us. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't get that until college.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I really didn't get like the support that I was looking for until college. Even when I moved to North Carolina and he was still coaching, he still missed a lot of games. You got to think about it. When I'm in season, he's in season, and they travel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So some days, like I may have a 7:30 game and they got practice. You know, even though I'm his son, he got work. That's how he put money in my account. That's how he put food on the table. So when I committed to Wake, it was some high and lows, you know, in that situation. But I was jealous, bro. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. Like I was jealous. Like I wish I had that bonding time of having that long car ride with my father. You know, going to an AAU trip and him telling me I played well, you know, that weekend. And like, bro, my mom is a kindergarten teacher. She didn't care about basketball. She just cared if I had fun or not. You know what I'm saying? So that car ride that I would have
Hmm.
with your dad or one of my other teammates' dad wasn't the same.
Mm.
For sure, for sure. So before we wrap up, you all have anything else that you want to, talk about, touch about? Because I know this was long, and then the first one got ended and everything.
I want to
I kind of feel like
apologize
we need a
about him.
part two.
Yeah.
We do need a part two, and I'm gonna
We
let
need a
y'all
part
talk.
two. I mean, I feel like there's a lot we didn't even get into yet.
Yeah, yeah. Because I do have some questions, and
What
yeah.
I want to do, Josiah, I want to acknowledge you for taking a leadership role in getting this information out here. And
Hmm.
so, I mean, I don't want you to take what you're doing as a short. You're using the tools that you have in front, and that's a big deal. And so, the
Hmm.
thing that I want to say is that, like, the information that we're sharing is very important, but the activities that we do with the information is even more important.
Hmm.
The thing that I tell you is that success is cool, but significance is better. And it's like the things that you're doing, this platform that you're building, if you take the same mindset that you guys have built up becoming athletes and stuff like that and apply it here, I mean, you guys are living in a time of your life where there is no real cap on what you can accomplish. And it's like
Hmm.
whatever thoughts you had about after the ball deflates, like I want you to think bigger about it. Like think about it bigger.
Yes,
Think
sir.
about it not national but global.
Yeah.
And it's like Brandon and his dad. Y'all got a book that need to be written somewhere, man. Like we need
Y'all, yeah, y'all need a YouTube channel or something.
to get a book and put it in the hand of everybody playing AAU basketball. I mean, y'all got a great narrative that needs to be shared. And
Yeah.
so things that I'm saying is if we can look at, what we currently bring to the table and find ways to not only enhance it, but to get it out. And mom, you got a great narrative. Mothers need to know. You heard what he said. My mother, she ain't never had a good game on that. No, seriously. And so it's
Yeah.
very important that we use the tools that are within our reach to continue to slay Goliath because we have a chance now with your generation to push us further,
Hmm.
faster.
Yeah.
And we go further, fast.
Smarter. Smarter too. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just a lot of respect to y'all, man. I love the young G's, man. Y'all give me hope.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
One thing I want to say before I get on this live, Brandy, you being a mom, I just want to say I'm proud of you for raising a young black man in this world. I know it's tough, during these days, especially during this pandemic. I don't know if anybody has told you, but I want to, be one of the few guys that say I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
And Brandon, look, I'm proud of you too. Even though you might have had like some setbacks and everything,
Yeah.
the the way you tackling, every adversity that has come your way. And I remember you talking about this. This was like a couple of weeks ago on Clubhouse. Like I heard your story, and I'm like, I'm doing a mental health thing, and I'm like, you know what? Let me bring Brandon on because I know he has the story, and I know he could talk about it from like a mental health standpoint because I know you probably you think a lot about what's going on, what's next. So I appreciate you for coming on here and having this discussion, man.
Hmm.
Your
Anytime. We
pop,
definitely need a
yeah,
part two. I apologize
yeah,
on my
We
father's
do.
behalf for him
yeah,
talking to you.
That was
Like,
he came in right on time, I feel like though. That was
yeah.
like
He did, he
perfect. It
did.
was
That
really
was
perfect.
perfect.
And I'm
But
yeah.
gonna
y'all
say I
decide,
wanted to
you got to put a time limit on him. You got to put a
I
time limit on him. I kept tapping his leg when we were talking, like, all right, man, we got two other people on this call. Like, I need you to.
maybe tell
Yeah.
him when the street lights come on, he gotta pass it back.
Man, the street lights
But no,
been
he
on.
was
Like, it's
dope.
dark out here.
I wanted to tell you though, Brandon, I know that your dad didn't start coming and you didn't get that experience until college, but I always look at it from a spiritual perspective. Like God is a God of no mistakes. And it's just mighty funny and timely that you're having this time. I know gone to college and stuff already, but
Yeah.
look at this moment and this time that you're able to have. Nobody's traveling. Yeah, we're still in the midst of a slight pandemic, but this is another fine opportunity that I feel like has been given to you to kind
Season
of
of,
get.
yeah, that's real.
Yeah. So just,
I
obviously
appreciate
I know
that.
you'll take advantage of that and you're gonna get spoiled probably too. So go
Yeah,
milk that a little bit.
I will. I got you, Miss Brandon. Thank
for sure. But once again, though, I appreciate you all for taking time out your night. I'm out here. It's later there than where y'all at. I'm out. Well, it's like, what time is it where you
you.
at, Brandon?
9:17 Eastern time. It's
I-
probably
I'm
So
eight.
it's
six,
6 there.
seven.
Mhm.
It's 8 o'clock here, so I'm good. But
Okay, part two, part two, part
yeah,
two.
part two. We definitely gonna we gonna I'm gonna create like a group chat or something where we can come up with like a date for the next one. And
Okay.
yeah, we're gonna dive into part two. But for all of you out there that's watching this and that's gonna tell people about it, make sure you follow After the Ball Deflates and all of us as well as we continue, in our own lives making impact, but also for part two that's gonna be coming very soon. So
Mhm.
appreciate y'all for tuning in. Hope y'all enjoyed and see you soon.
Have a blessed one, guys.
All
God
right,
bless
bye, you
y'all.
guys.
All right,
See you
Take it
all
easy.
right.
later. Bye.